Good afternoon, YouTube. So I've had a number of subscribers ask if I could make an overview video on my 16-volt lithium-ion Powerwall. So I've made a number of videos talking about the various components here that I have set up, but I guess I forgot to do an overview of the whole system. So the heart of the system here, this is the SBMS 120. So that's a 120 amp solar battery management system. And this has been working really well. It keeps the cells within typically 10 millivolts, the 4 series cells I have. So the main connections here, it's got 2 PV inputs. Yeah, I'm using this one here, PV1. I've got a cable in here for PV2, but I don't have anything hooked up. So I've got PV1, you see the green light is on. I'm getting solar coming in. So this has a pair of 270 watt solar panels that come in here. They're wired in parallel. One of them faces southeast and then the other one faces southwest. Combined I get about 11 amps of charging in there. And then this connection here is your battery positive, and this wire goes straight down to the battery bank, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Then over here, this ribbon cable is your battery sense leads and balancing leads. You can see all the battery voltages there, and then it does the balancing during charging. And then over here, this is your DC load, so I have that going out to a breaker. Right now I don't have anything connected to it. I've got everything shut off because we've had several weeks of cloudy weather, and I figure I would just shut everything down for a while. It's still charging, keeping the cells topped off, but I'm not running any loads. And I'm actually getting ready to do some work on the system, but I figure I would do this overview while it's still up and running. So that's the main heart of the system, and I'll show you how it all connects in a bit. But over here is a second charge controller. Like I say, this is a solar BMS. It does do a charge controller function. It's basically just on off. It takes current in until the batteries are at 100%, and then it shuts off. It doesn't do any pulse width modulation or anything like that. This over here is a 40 amp MPPT charge controller. It's an EpSolar 4215BN, and it's hooked up to 3 solar panels that are about 1,000 watts total. And then over here is your battery connection, these 2 wires, and then here's the DC load coming out, and those both go through circuit breakers down here. So I have circuit breaker for the solar panels, circuit breaker for the DC load, and then over here I've got the breaker for the solar panels feeding the SBMS 120, and then I've got a breaker for the DC output. The battery connection here is directly connected because this has to remain connected at all times. The EpSolar battery connection runs through a 70 amp ground fault breaker here. So that's a GFDI, ground fault detection interrupter. It's like GFCI, but they call it GFDI. So that's a 70 amp breaker, and that's where the charge controller connects. So the reason I have this charge controller and I'm not using all the panels in here is because I've got a 16 volt battery bank, and this thing doesn't do any MPPT. So when this is charging, it connects the solar panels to the battery. When it gets fully charged, it disconnects them. There's no current or voltage boosting like you get on an MPPT. So my solar panels are like 32 volt open circuit voltage, but when they're charging, it's only running 16 volts. So my 270 watt panels are more like 135 watt panels. I'm only getting half the power out of them. So this guy, with 3 panels, I can get 40 amps of charging. Over here with 2 panels, I get about 11 amps of charging. So that's why I have this controller here, just to make up for the power I'm losing over here. So I kind of look at it as this is my balance charger and this is my bulk charger. And there's really no communication between these two other than the battery voltage. So I just set both of these up to charge to 16 volts and then stop charging. They don't really talk to each other than down here. So if we look down here, I've got 3 bus bars. This is my battery bus bar, and then this is my system bus bar, the copper bus bars, and then over there is my DC load bus bar. So right here is where the SBMS 120 connects, and that goes right over to the battery bus bar here. And then there's a current shunt here connecting to the system bus, and that's where the MPPT charge controller hooks up. So that way, if this controller is charging the batteries, it comes down here through the bus bar, up through the shunt, and then over to the batteries. And that way the SBMS 120 can see this charging current. And likewise, if my power inverter is drawing power, that way it sees any power that goes out of the battery, and that way the SBMS 120 can see everything that goes in and out of the batteries. And then down here is another current shunt that I have for the trimetric battery monitor. It's hooked up on the negative side of the battery bus. They're kind of redundant features. The trimetric gives me a state of charge only. The SBMS 120 gives me more data. I have 2 state of charge meters. And then as far as the DC load, I have a 200 amp circuit breaker here that feeds the positive bus. And then I have a current shunt on the negative side that feeds the load. And that current shunt is for this DC power meter. So you can see I've done 1104 kilowatt hours or 1.1 megawatt hours into my AC power inverter over the last year and a half or so. That is DC power, so the AC power that came out of that is probably 800 kilowatt hours, something like that. It's not 100% efficient. Yeah, so right here, this is where the ribbon cable from the SBMS 120 comes in. So these are the sense lines, voltage sense lines, and these are my 5 inter-cell connections. So this is cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, and cell 4 voltages, and that's where I bring them out of my balance cables over here. So I've got a balance cable from each battery pack, and then they connect over to the ribbon cable. And the one thing that's a little different if you're running 4S, so you've got your black, gray, and then it's purple and orange is in the middle, and then you have red and brown right here in the middle between cell 2 and cell 3. There's 2 wires hooked up, and you need to do that for 4S. And let me show you on the diagram up here. If you're running a 4S battery using 1 and 2 cells, so this is your most negative, and then you're using 7 and 8. So it's like you have 1, 2, 7, 8, and you don't have any of these middle cells, but you've got to connect the orange and the purple. So the purple would have connected to the positive of number 2, and the orange connects to the negative of number 7. 7 and 2 are connected together here, or purple and orange. So you have 1, 2, 7, 8 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 like you would think. But anyway, everything is working pretty well. So with these, I've got 16 volts and roughly 205 amp hours of battery there, and that's worked really well. And the interesting thing is, amp hour wise, this is about the same as my lead acid battery bank, which was about 200 amp hours, and I could not do anything close to what this thing will do. Similar amp hours, but you can do so much more with the same amp hours of lithium battery that you can with lead acid. One reason I have these multiple bus bars is that all of this will be going into my solar power shed. So all the electronics up here will be going in the top half of the shed, and this system bus bar will be in the top half. The batteries are going to be in the bottom half of the shed, so that's why I have a long cable here. So the two halves of the shed will be almost separated because there's going to be a shelf in the middle, and then all the batteries are going to be on slide out shelves. So I'll probably have 2 to 4 batteries on each slide out shelf, and then each of these connectors and cables will be for one group of 2 or 4 batteries. We'll plug in here, the next shelf will plug in here, a third shelf, a fourth shelf, however many shelves I have, and then that way if I need to work on a particular battery, I can unplug that shelf, leave the other ones connected. Once I get 2 shelves, I'll have redundant batteries. I can disconnect one shelf, work on those batteries separately, and then plug it back in. You know, if I'm adding a battery, or maybe I have to take one out of service to test it. So that's the reason for multiple connections here. I want to have many smaller batteries. The 16-volt batteries are roughly ½ kilowatt hour. So the main reason I did this 16-volt lithium system is so I could get some experience with lithium batteries. How do they work? How do you charge them, discharge them, balance them, monitor them? So I've had now a couple of years experience with that, but I was able to gain that experience using my existing 12-volt lead acid equipment. So this is mainly a 12 or 24 volt lead acid charge controller. I've got a 12-volt power inverter and some other components that'll work up to 16 volts. So the idea was I could make up a couple kilowatt hours of lithium batteries, try them out, see how they work, and I've been really impressed. They seem to work very well. So 2 things I've decided. One is I need to go to 24 volts because my 12-volt power inverter is only good for 1,000 watts. I've been putting more and more load on the DC inverter, and I'm starting to hit the limits. I had my freezer running and my Ego lawnmower battery charger, which is about a 500 watt load, and then the freezer turned on while the battery charger was running, and that overloaded the inverter and shut it off, hitting the surge limits of the power inverter. So I kind of figured I needed to get a bigger, higher capacity inverter, and if I'm going to do that, I might as well go to 24 volts. This will do 24 volts. This would also do 24 volts if I decide to use it, and all I have to do is change out the inverter. So I'm going to be taking this apart partially. This thing will stay the same, but I'll be putting a 24 volt system in. That's why I wanted to do this overview of the 16 volt system while I still have it connected. So stay tuned for some upcoming videos. We'll be changing out some of these parts for 24 volts, and then I have to reconfigure my batteries. So yeah, if you have any questions about running the 2 controllers in parallel, go ahead and post up in the comment section below. They've coexisted very nicely together. They don't seem to cause any problems. They're basically wired in parallel, just separated by a current shunt. That's the only thing keeping them from totally in parallel. And yeah, they both seem to work. You just have to set the voltages here and the voltages here to be similar so that they both start charging and stop charging at the same point. And once you do that, they're pretty compatible. The only gotcha is the temperature, low temperature cutoff. I don't have that feature here, so if you're in a really cold environment, that would be something you should look at. In my case, I don't think it's a problem, so I'm not concerned about it. But yeah, if you have any other questions, go ahead and post up in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.